It doesn't matter. Welcome to being here. Cool.
Well, it's great to have everyone here. I think it's 8:30. Let's get started. Welcome. It's a big step to come to this class. I know it's maybe outside of some of your comfort zones, but I commend you for showing up. So I want to just start by saying that the class is sponsored by the Small Business Development Center. And as part of that, oh, well, here's Jess. I was just diving into the Small Business Development Center stuff, so why don't you take it over?
Hi, sorry, I'm really backlit, but hopefully you can sort of see me in my mask. So I'm Jessica Carr. I'm the Associate Director of the Sierra Small Business Development Center, and we are part of a larger Northern California network of small business development centers that provide free business advising and workshops to entrepreneurs and existing businesses in a variety of different areas. Cash flow, access to capital, startup questions, growth, succession planning, winding down, marketing, all of the above. We've been around for a long time, since the 60s, and we are a program of the SBA, the Small Business Administration. We also receive funding from the state of California and then from local partners in our region. So the Sierra SBDC covers Nevada County, Placer County, El Dorado County, and then all the way up to the Oregon border, Sierra, Lassen, Plumas, Modoc County. Oh. And like I said, we're part of a larger region. So if you don't happen to be in any of those counties, you are covered by a small business development center. And so you can definitely get in touch with me and I'll get you to the right one. Right now, we're doing all of our advising remotely because of the situation. And we are all hands on deck trying to assist businesses through this incredible challenge and out the other side. So we're really happy that Robert has brought this curriculum to the community. It's amazing, and it's a really great tool for all of you to pivot and help us survive and recover and get through it. So if you have any questions, I'm gonna hop off in a couple minutes, and I hope you enjoy this week, but I'll put my email address and the website in the chat. If you're not already a client of the Small Business Development Center, you can go to our website to sign up. If you are a client and you want to meet with somebody, please feel free to just email me or call me anytime. And yeah, that was the SBDC is a wonderful program. We are taxpayer funded, so we have a lot of programmatic requirements, which is why we asked you to do that extra sign up step in our database. So thank you to those of you who have done that. If you haven't yet, I'll send it out again. And we will also ask you to complete a survey at the end of the course as a part of our requirement, and also to guide our future offerings going forward. So thank you so much, and I'm put it in the chat, and feel free to shoot me an email or call me anytime.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Jess. And just to dig a little bit deeper into that. So this class is set up not only to have a lot of instruction and to really focus you on getting a store up and running. There's a lot of things I'm sure all of you are really good at, and some things that you need help with. Maybe not everyone's a great copywriter or a great photographer or a great strategist or a marketer. You know, there's all these different things to be a business owner. And it's nearly impossible to be expert at everything. And we recognize that. And this is a very kind of a crash course and very intense in getting you up and running. And so we recognize that you're going to need help. And the SBDC, just like Jess said, there's all these different people with all these different skills available to help you. One thing, this is the second time we've done this whole course series. So there was a lot of experience that I gained and the kind of this whole team gained. And what we recognize is we put all of these offerings out there. Here, take the class, show up 8:30 to 10:30 every day. and here's these people to help you. But I'd like to just take a moment and just explain a little bit more about SBDC and how people can help. So let's just take, for example, I'm having a really hard time deciding between Shopify or Wix and something about how to hook up my merchant accounts. There's people there that can help you with that. They can advise you on how to make those, advise you on how to make those decisions. And they're expert at these things, and you're not. And ultimately it's your decision, it's your business. But doing it in a vacuum, doing it alone, when you're making hundreds of decisions a day can be overwhelming. And it's not, it doesn't have to be a huge commitment to, I'm signing up for this consulting thing and I need to, put another thing on my calendar and it's this other thing I have to deal with. We're really here to serve you. It could be a half-hour phone call. It could be, 8 one-hour sessions over a period of 4 months. It's really flexible, and we really just want to have your back, and that's what we're here for. Also, I am a SBDC consultant, and I consult on marketing and strategy and a variety of things. But oftentimes I'm like, hey, sounds like you need, let's say you're going to go for a loan, or if you're going to go for a loan, I'll just say, listen, I kind of know about that stuff, but talk to this other consultant. I'm going to refer you to this other consultant. They're way better than I am. So go for it. And we'll just have this large amount of resources for you. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that. And Jess has said, like, a lot of people have signed up through the SBDC, but we're not just trying to check boxes and have that done. We're doing it because that's the first step in you having access to those consultants. So I guess that's my piece. Jess, anything to add to that?
No, that sounded perfect. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna mute everybody, and you guys can unmute yourself.
Rob, somebody asked, are these consultants free or are there varying charges? Stormy asked that.
No, our advising is all at no cost to the client. Our consultants are paid, but like I was speaking about earlier, the program is a program of the Small Business Administration, and the state of California as well contributes, as well as public partners locally. So the advising comes at no cost to the client.
Can't get any better than that.
Cool. To that end, I advise you guys to use this stuff and then also do the survey that Jess asked you, because I know on the other side of these surveys, that's where the grant funders get to see, oh, this did actually make a difference. So yeah, don't take advantage of everything and then not do their closing survey. My wife works for the school district, and it's like those closing surveys are what keeps the grants alive. So cool.
Yeah, so I do want to say, like, my headphone jack broke in my computer. So I improvised this thing and I'm hearing some weird echo. So that's why I'm fidgeting with my headphones. Cool. So I want to say that another thing that's magic about the Business Igniter and this program that you've signed up for is that we're now a team together. We are one of the main resources available to us to get this job done. Everyone is in the same boat as far as needing to improve their online store, get their online store up and running. We're small business owners. There's kind of a freak out going on right now. And it's really nice to be in a group of people in the same situation with a willingness to help each other and make it through this. We're all shooting for, I'd like us all to be shooting for to get an online store up and running by the end of next month or sooner. And it's not, it doesn't have to be this full-blown store with everything all polished and everything perfect. We need to start selling things online, and you'll make improvements as we move along. And everyone here has resources or advice or like, oh, don't do that. I just spent 6 hours on that. It was a nightmare. Don't make that choice. And you just saved, maybe 4 people in the group that choice. So please use chat. We can talk offline, make relationships, support each other, buy from each other, share on social media. All these things are going to be super important to our overall success. So I hope everyone's down with that. And also know that I am available. You can email me. I've been sending so many emails to you. So you got my email address, info@sierracommons.org. Please email with questions, small and large, and I will try to get you a little bit farther down the road. And so with that, I want to dig into it and have Barry do his presentation. And I'm going to spotlight Barry now.
Cool. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. And I'm going to close that screen down so I'm not staring at a picture of me, staring at a picture of me, staring at a picture of me. Good. Let's dig in. Welcome, everybody. It's, host is disabled, participant sharing. Can you make me a co-host real quick? Yeah, just hit me over on the side and co-host me. There we go. Oh, you made me full host. Now I can kick you out. Okay, that's fine. Good. Let's jump in, you guys. Really good to be here with you. So my name's Barry. Instead of doing some long intro about this is me and what I've been doing and blah, 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 doesn't matter. So I would just, a quick thing. I was a professional juggler for 34 years with TED Talks and Tonight Show and corporate events. I had a very good career in that. I sold something that was impossible to sell for a lot of money. I sold a juggling act, a 1-hour juggling act to Fortune 100 companies around the world. So when I see people looking to sell things and they say, well, it's kind of hard to sell this, I always have the story in my head. Yeah, really? Try selling a juggling act. But it was, so I learned a lot about marketing, and I'll bring all that to you. I retired from that in November of 2016. Wow, I'm coming up on 4 years since I've really thrown and caught more than one thing on purpose. And I went into doing a lot of business consulting and working with businesses and showing them some of the stuff, the ways that I've used to sell. I'm a launch coach for Jeff Walker's Product Launch Formula, which is a 15-year-old online program. It's the biggest launching program on the internet. So I work with 6, 7, even some 8-figure businesses now, really coordinating their launches. So I'm going to squeeze a lot of what I really teach those folks to do who pay a heck of a lot of money to be in that class. There is no wonderful SBDC sponsoring that program. Those people pay a lot of money every month to be in the group and hear my brain. So like with SBDC and Jess and Rob and all the consultants you have access to, milk me while I'm here. I'll answer anything for you. I'll dig in with you guys. I'll give you honest feedback about to save you time and dig in. But I put a couple of things together, a couple presentations I just want to fit in this morning. We'll take a break sort of in the middle, just a 2-minute bio break, run out, shake, have a drink of water. We're going to shift topics a little bit. I want to cover a lot while I'm here, and I know you guys got a big week. So get a notepad ready, whether you're electronic note taker and Rob has the recording running on this, so we'll be able to do that. But good, that's the extent of the intro, not full of graphics or anything. Good. So we're going to talk first about business success starts with the strong core values, and I talk about this for a real reason because knowing who we are, our capacities, our desires to do things, when we are in our zone, if we can get that set at the beginning, it's actually beyond brilliant to do that. So that makes the placement of this topic so ideal. It sets the stage for the rest of your course, and your business life, your life and business. If we can get these core values in place, it gives you clarity on what serves you so that you can serve others. Because I see so many people just trying to fit into a little bottle, a square peg and a round hole, and it doesn't work. And you can saw off one of the corners and can kind of tilt in a little bit, but let's just get clear on core values at the very beginning so that everything we do is in alignment with where we're going and how we can serve our customers. And getting clear on your core values as we go forward in the business, it's going to make a lot of what you're doing easier or unnecessary. First great book recommendation. If you guys like reading or listening to books on tapes, it's called The One Thing. And it's a wonderful book, but at the end of the 200 and something pages, it comes down to what can you do in your life and your business that makes everything else either easier or unnecessary. And having that as a modus operandi at the very beginning will save you a lot of time going forward. So that's really what I want to do here. Core values keep decisions from being emergencies. And boy, that's just huge, getting straight on core values. As your business grows, and as Rob even alluded to at the top, everything can feel like an emergency at first. And the truth is, getting straight on core values, you go, nope, that's not in my track, not on my radar, not what I'm doing, not who I'm serving. The more we can eliminate what we shouldn't be doing, nothing is an emergency. It's fantastic. And the great news is the core values, the gold inside already exists inside of you. It's already in there. And since they exist, what I want to ask us to do today is let's empower ourselves by claiming them. You know, here we are 15 minutes into this class, and I really want to encourage you to do this exercise with me. Play all out on this thing if it feels a little whatever, gooey wooey, whatever judgment you may have about it. Dig into this. I promise you it'll come back to you. It always does. So let's make a list real quick, 90 seconds, writing core values. And these core values can just be anything that you feel is like a focus in your life. This is the exercise I did. I did this exercise. The ones on the left there are kind of all my core values. I'm going to shut up here for 60 seconds. They don't have to be beautiful. Don't have to be overthought. Scribble down what's really important to you. I have about 30 seconds left. See you guys writing. I love it. Yeah, what are the things that are just hell yes? You see that one in the middle of mine? That's my hell yes test. I use that on everything. A great coach I worked with for a while, he said, there's only hell yes and hell no. No one ever said hell maybe. So hell yes, that's a big one for me. And this, let me stop that. And this is a fun little thing. You can search online word cloud makers. Maybe nice to have one of these just printed out in front of you. It's just a free little app. You just type in all your words and it makes this cool kind of puzzle out of it. Good. So those are ones that are the gold. This is the good, yummy stuff. How does it feel to get those out of you? You know, does it feel like, okay, I'm going to own those things? And I can't tell you how important it is to just own the stuff that's there. So it doesn't feel like, it's kind of everybody has this, or, you know, whatever kind of story you're going to make up for it. Own it proud and loud. Good. So the question is, you know, do you always act from that place? Do I always act from all these places? Accountability, open-mindedness. No, I don't, you know, believe it or not. In my best, when I'm in my power, I sure do. But as our dear friends, Amy and Emily, and some of you know who those lovely people are. Amy and Emily say, indigo girls, darkness has a hunger that's insatiable. And boy, is that ever true. So, and the lightness has a call that's hard to hear. So that's from a great song, Closer to Find. But I just love those lyrics because that hunger that's insatiable, that's another part of our core values, believe it or not. Inside of each of us, we have this kind of gold shadow. That's all those words we just wrote. And then there's this other side of us, this sort of shadow or darker side, and it has core values, believe it or not. So let's take a second on owning those, because truly working on core values requires that we look at our whole being. Because where there's light, there's shadows. And that which exists in me will challenge my core values. All right, so we're going to do another exercise that's just on the other side of that. We're going to claim it. Because if we don't claim it, we'll never understand its power. And if we don't understand its power, it sneaks up from behind and takes over. And then it can lead to shaming and toxic guilt and all this stuff that we just don't need when we're starting a business. So let's claim them, getting out there. Someone smarter than me once said, gosh, I love remembering where I heard or read things, but I don't remember where. But I read, if I hate something, it owns me. And boy, is that ever true. And in this day and age, we have a lot of opportunities to really look at that. If we hate something, it owns us, don't we? So let's do a little work on this. Let's get these thoughts, phrases, characteristics, and beliefs that are in there too. Let's get them out. And this is a good chance to tell on yourself. It's easier not to do this work. It's easier not to do this part, but I'm going to invite you to do it. Empower yourself by claiming that which might threaten the gold core values. So let's make a list. Let's take another 90 seconds. I'll start the clock here. And let's do the ones that aren't so pretty, the ones that we don't post on Facebook, the ones that we don't tell our friends about. Here's mine, for example. These are very real core values that the darker side of me has. Notice, is this list easier or harder to write? "30 seconds. Uncover some that are a little bit, you don't have to share this list. Should have said that at the beginning. This is for you. Only a dummy would put their list on a screen for everyone to look at. Yeah. All right. This thing's going to pop here. There we go. All right, good. 90 seconds of owning that other side of it. And of course, how does that feel? It probably feels a little bit vulnerable, a little raw. So the question, just like last time from the gold, you always come from that place? Of course not. Of course not. And the work of acknowledging that you just did, this is hero's journey stuff, right? This is big work to even expose you have that side. And what we're doing here, it's not normal, all right? There are a lot of people on Monday morning digging into exposing this side of themselves, even to themselves. We're kicking off this igniter because you're going to be doing some deep work that isn't comfortable. So my opportunity here is to invite you to just kind of get clear on what the gold is, what the darker side is, and how they might work together. So let's do a super quick exercise. You're probably going to want your hands empty for this one. I put these out on my screen here, so they're facing me right here. So in front of me on my left hand is all these gold ones, and in my right hand, I can line up my eyeballs, so I'm actually holding those right in front of my screen. Like I'm standing here with my hands out in front of me, and I feel all those good ones in my left hand and all the ones in my right hand, and I'm in the middle. So practice that. Give that a try. What's it look like just to hold those two in your hands and say, yeah, look at that. I get teared up when I even look at those in front of me. Like that's what goes into me creating as an entrepreneur every week. And those are the things I deal with. And that's me, who I stand in the middle of those two. Yeah, you have that screen of yours right now in front of you. Really encourage you to get those word clouds going after this, if you can too, or just write them on paper, whatever you like. Yeah. So what do you notice about those two lists? Hey, in fact, let's type one in the chat here. We can expedite our time, and maybe we'll have some time at the end. I want to make sure I get through my stuff, but the left hand represents what? Put the answer to that. The left hand represents me in my. The left hand represents me, and the right hand represents me and my power and me and my fear. That's what I came up with. Love to see what is it? What's that left hand? What are all those gold core values? What do they represent for you?
So I just want to say, if you're not familiar with the chat at the bottom menu of your Zoom, you can click on chat.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Wonderful. Creative mode, isn't that something? Opportunity and fear. Oof. Higher self, introvert, right? Yeah. Light, darkness. Yeah. Isn't that the truth, guy? That's who we are, right? Each side helps drive the other. The spectrum. Yeah, I love that. Very good. So let's bring this all together now in something that we can actually hold in our hand and move forward. Dwight D. Eisenhower had this great quote about plans are useless, but planning is essential. So as you guys launch into this week, you're going to do some planning and how it's going to go. And those plans that you make will help guide best case scenario. And the core values, this work we're doing right now is going to help back those up. And like I said, most important takeaway from this part of my time with you today is just the core values keep us honest with ourselves and keep everything from becoming an emergency, because opportunities are going to come at you left and right as you're going through this journey of transferring your business. I mean, starting a business, opportunities are going to be flooding in. Which ones line up with the core values and which one feel like someone else's emergency?
Hey, Barry, I'm going to just interject for a second. Barry's talking about starting new business or, everyone's in a little bit of a different place, but it's, kind of a crazy time right now. So even if you haven't been selling online, you're going to be selling online. And it's not the same as, let's say you had a retail store. It's just not the same. There's different things that you're going to have to consider. So in a way, like if you already have a business, it's like starting a new business because it's an online audience and it's a whole new ballgame. So.
Yeah, not kidding, man. And that's what we're going to really cover in part 2 is understanding that difference. So let's do this. Let's spend 2 minutes. This is going to be wonderful. And I have a little template for you to keep it easy. You can use this template, or if something else comes to you, please use that. But let's take 2 minutes and draft a core value statement that acknowledges both the light and the dark, the gold and the shadow, and the creativity and the stagnation, and all the great words that you guys use to explain what that left and right. And any way you may want to do it, I'm going to propose this format. In my life, in my business, my core values are, and we're going to pick 3 of those ones that we had in the left hand, just 3 of those. My core values are boom, boom, boom. I keep those front and center of every decision I make. This is the second part. I'm also choosing to keep blank, blank, blank in front of me so that I consciously make sure they don't hijack me from behind. So let's take 2 minutes. I'll leave that on the screen there. Use that as a template if you'd like, or another way. This is Nevada County. I'm not going to pretend I'm the boss of anybody. You guys may have some way you want to write this that really feels tight for you, and I want to put something up you can use. Basically, we're going to acknowledge our gold and also say these things exist in front of me, and I want to keep them in front of me so that they don't sneak up and surprise me. We got one more minute and then we'll just see how people are doing if you need a little more time. All right, that's 2 minutes. People need a little more time. If you do, just I can't see everybody's hand, but if you do, if you want a little more time, put it in the chat. And then we got a bunch of folks off camera. So yeah, I think no one's raising their hand. We'll keep moving forward. You guys can grab a screenshot of that or take a picture on your phone if you need to keep working on it. But good work. Holy cow. We got going pretty good on that one. So, let me share my core value statement. In my life and business, my core value, possibility, trust, and hell yes. I keep these front and center of every decision I make, and I do. Oh my gosh, every day I just say, do these fall into possibility, trust, and hell yes? And then I'm also choosing to keep unworthy, old, and disconnected. Unworthy, old, disconnected in front of me so that I consciously make sure they don't hijack me from behind. And yeah, those are words that sneak in. They can sneak in, especially when I'm working with 20-year-olds or that. So it's all right. Great to keep all those together. So I keep that snowball in front of me and I get to create from my possibility and trust and hell yes. And I go, yeah, those other voices are there. Those other words are there. They're part of the puzzle. They're part of me. And I don't hide from them because as I wrote earlier, if I hide, if I hate something, it owns me. Good stuff. All right. So, yeah, during this course and this life that we're in here this week and the life that you still have to live, you're going to be challenged to strengthen your decision-making muscle every single place you go. So if you look for the opportunity, you're going to find the opportunity. And I will personally own that every success that I've had in my business and my life aligned with my core values. Every single one of those aligned with the core values and was threatened by the shadow values, the shadow core values. Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, let me ask you, is that true? Can you guys relate to that? Throw something in the chat. When something really, really, really worked out for you, relationship, business, a decision you had to make, a car you bought, something you told somebody, was it really aligned with the core values? Or did you even learn about a core value from that? You guys can chat, or Rob, can they come live? Does that probably check?
Yeah, everyone can unmute yourself if you
Yeah,
want,
if you'd like to
or you
jump
can put it
in.
in the chat.
Yeah, did something work out that was a core value you could share? And which core value did it? Yeah, we'll have a little time to share these out loud. In fact, maybe we'll do that before we go into the next topic. I'd love to hear that. I know you guys want to share. Come on, we've been bonding for 30 minutes. Is it no one's shy still, right? That ended. We got past the shy part. Yeah, core values have served us in the COVID-19 shutdowns. Wow, that's awesome, Aaron. I love that. Yeah, flow's a big factor in serendipity. Hey, so, one of the great core values, one of the gold ones is I wait for flow. I just depend on that. I think flow is kind of a synonym of my hell yes. Spend a lot of time in my head and then listen to my gut. Oh, Robert. Oh my God. I didn't even look who said that before I read it, but of course it's my lifelong brother. Yeah. You know, it's funny, the gut intelligence, there's science showing about that second brain down there. A lot of the same stuff that's going on up in the one in our head, except it's way, 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 way older. And it doesn't get all locked up in all the fancy language, the verbs and nouns. It's just kind of like thumbs up, thumbs down. It's really basic language. So I think the more I can listen to that. Yeah. Yeah, and then somebody wrote, absolutely, a little personal, but relationship and religion was my #1 core value. Yep, and I'm married to the love of my life. Yeah, as we were on the same page of our core values. Excellent, very good. You guys can definitely go anonymous on these things. Just if you just want to send me something, I won't share names on that stuff, of course. Yep, good. Sold my business at the right time because I followed intuition. Beautiful, Pam. Yeah. Find when straying from my core values, I experience dissonance. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Very good. Love it, you guys. So you guys have you have a core value statement, play with it, rewrite it, keep it front and center as you go on with this week, even this week, and then of course on with business and life. But refer back to that and keep refining it. It's a living document, by the way. It doesn't have to be done as of July 20th of no one make their core value state during 4 months into a global pandemic. That might be a little bizarre in a year. Good. So let's dig into these. Yeah. So I was going to say most disappointments were out of alignment, and that's certainly something else I can own. Yeah. When I don't listen to the hell yes, when I don't trust, when I don't put creativity front and center. All those things are like, those are the times I look back and I say, why did I do that? What was I doing with that? All right.
So Barry, can I throw something at you?
Everything, please, man.
Okay. This whole thing about the core values and letting it guide you. This is, let's call this emergency times or crisis times. I'll compare it to, let's say, dieting. Well, here I have this strict diet, but something really major happened and I'm going to have that ice cream. Or,
right.
You know, so I might act differently in a crisis situation and throw the core values aside. And even if I'm recognizing I'm doing it. And so could you talk about that? Like how business crisis and how that translates?
We didn't set this up, but it's a great setup. 8 years ago, I wrote a book called I Love Me More Than Sugar. I've been sugar-free 8 years and no foods with added sugar for 8+ years. It was Leap Day 2012. And boy, you talk about in the early times, I deserve this. I'm panicking, I'm stressing, I'm jonesing, I need this. And the truth is, it's a bit of a opportunity for you to, I mentioned the word hero's journey. We can get past all of this stuff. We can shine in the pandemic, in the quarantine, in the radical changes of business. We can rise above by sticking to our core values, with sugar, by saying, when the no-brainer, the default one was, wow, I worked so hard on this and it kicked ass. I did great. I'm going to have a big hot fudge sundae. It's like, I worked hard on this thing. I kicked ass and I'm going to reward myself by not having a hot fudge sundae. So, I mean, that's really why I brought this most disappointments were out of alignment when I did that. So what can we do to stay in those core values? No, you're not going to be perfect. And if it's going to be something that goes against a core value, something happened in our little county here. There was this, I'm not going to get this political at all, but I was just reading this thread on Facebook with probably 300 comments of somebody had an ecstatic dance party July 4th weekend up on the ridge. Some dude came in from out of town, put this thing on. Bunch of people went up there. And then, a lot of people who were involved in it now are sitting in the bright light of accountability of a whole bunch of people having COVID symptoms, spreading like crazy because of this party where they decided to go against the core values. And this one guy summed it up who got involved. He wrote about 500 words of sort of the cheesiest, shitty accountability I could have ever seen in my life. My judgment, I'll just own that. He called it accountability. But really what he did, he started the thing off by saying, I've lost all my money, from my business and I needed to make some money. Then he went on to try and justify over and over and over why he did this thing. That's throwing out the core values. I'm sure his core value was never, I will put people's risk at life. I would have loved if this guy came out before, while it was still before the event, and said, I'm getting ready to do something really stupid, and what I need to do is raise the $3,000 that I'm going to make by doing this stupid thing. Shit, man, I'd have been like, Venmo me your address, dude, you know, just for speaking up before the event happened. That's core values. And the disappointments right now out of alignment with the core values. So really, whatever you can do to stay in those values, be vulnerable, ask for help. You guys have this amazing SBDC thing. You have the power of consultants behind you. What's it take to stay in line with the core values, to not eat sugar? My son was 9 or something when I went off sugar. He's 18 now. I told him the thing I'm doing. He's like, he had this great line. He's like, yeah, Daddy, but people love sugar. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's such a simple, little the brilliance of youth, and I wrote the book, I did an online program. I went on like 25 TV shows talking about this, worked with thousands of people over the 6 years or so that I had an online. Then that product really came out of line with my core values. I was no more bringing creativity to it. Wasn't a ton of trust that I had that the team I was working with, that people were all into it. Some people were doing it just for the money. And more important than anything, it wasn't a hell yes anymore. So sold off some of the digital assets for that and moved on to the next thing. But would have been easy to just stick with that for the money piece of it, but it wasn't in line with the core values anymore. Thanks for bringing that up, Rob. And let's just pause for a second. And is somebody at a place in their business where they need to make some decisions, and how does it feel like maybe it doesn't align with a core value? And could we talk through some of that? We have time to do that during this call. Unmute yourselves and come live if you'd like.
I guess I have something I could speak to in that direction, which is that I'm doing what I'm doing because I felt that what I was doing no longer could align with my core values right now. I've been a bartender for the last 10 years, and I made a decision that bartending didn't feel like an ethical activity to be doing during a pandemic. And so,
wow,
that's the choice that sent me off spiraling to where I am right now.
That's so cool. Who is that talking? I'm sorry, it's not lit up for some reason.
Matthew Ozapowski.
Matthew, cool, man. Nice to meet you. So first off, dude, congratulations on listening. That just sounds really amazing that you heard that. And I mean, you're doing something kind of scary and bold, I bet. Do you have some thought of, you're in this igniter for what you want to do? And
yeah, it's very focused. I've been I just got my insurance license, and I'm going to be launching a business selling senior insurance products as an independent agent.
Awesome. Oh my God, it's going to be so good. The second half of what we do today for you for that. That's great. And you've mystified me on Zoom. I'm on 5 to a dozen meetings every day, and there's always the green square around who's talking, and you're like,
yeah, I don't know what happened to my green square.
You're like an enigma, man. You're just like, you floated in. It's fantastic. I love it.
That's who I am.
That means it's magic. All right. Hey, very good. So congratulations on stepping away from something like that. And 10 years is probably enough time to do bartending. I bet you've seen everything you can see.
Yeah, I love it. It's a huge part of who I am. I might go back to it part-time when this is all over. But
cool.
Good to take a break for sure. Sleeping regular hours is nice.
Yeah. I always think oh my gosh, there was a screen up. I didn't go up. I see you now. Good to see you. Where were you bartending in town somewhere?
Yeah, I was at Golden Era for the last.
Oh, nice. You know Nick Federoff?
Yeah, I got him into bartending.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Oh,
I got him hired up at the 5 Mile House. We worked together for years.
He's a good bud. Yeah, he's a good one. I saw him there a few times doing tequila nights or something. So, hey, very cool. Well, congratulations. That'll be good. Good. Anyone else have something they want to share about around core values, what they're doing? Talk through any scenarios? I really appreciate Rob bringing up that one about when it doesn't jive, because we're in a time right now where we'll be challenged.
Hi, Matt, by the way.
Hi, Kelly.
I have been living here for about 7 years, and I'm a single mom, and spent a lot of time in the green industry, but it was definitely never my passion, but it was something that I could do from home and be able to support my kid. And I definitely knew I wanted something more, so I started pursuing the copywriting, a copywriting course back in February. And so that brings me here, and I'm really excited to still be actively a part of the community and supporting our local businesses and everything. But definitely doing something that I feel much more strongly about. And
Love it.
so.
So, you bring up such a good point. I'm going to use you for an example for a second, Kelly, because I hear the green industry was something, you wasn't in line with the core value, but I'm guessing being able to take care of your, is it son, daughter? You have
Son, yeah.
son, being able to take care of your son was a core value, like giving him
Absolutely.
a life.
Yeah.
So with that as a core value, that's where we kind of get to do, what can I do to make sure that core value is met? So there's going to be times where maybe the bullet points under something aren't exactly, but is it feeding really like that core value that you hold in your left hand and it shines bright? And that's so good for you for doing what you had to do, and also good for recognizing that. So yeah, out with some bullet points, in with new ones. And I love copywriting, especially if you have that's an unlimited field as far as that's the digital ATM machine, copywriting, because you can do licensing deals with people you write copy for and not just get paid by the hour. And I work with some people who do that.
You're gonna have to talk to me more about that aspect.
Yeah, that could be very good. But yeah, don't write by the hour if you're writing copy for people. I mean, you may have to get started till you get some results, but boy, then you can write for a set fee and a piece of the business if you believe in it. And those are usually just two-tier scales. It's either some crazy ass amount to write, or it's half of a crazy ass amount plus a 1 year whatever. So yeah, there's a good way those are worked out, and someone can help you for sure in the
Thanks.
SBDC. Sorry, I have to look down when I say that because I have a program called SBBP, and that's what rolls off my tongue. So SBDC. All right, cool, good stuff. Anyone else want to just talk about a core value where it aligns with what you? Yeah, please, Stormy, jump in.
This has only come up since the pandemic, when everything's reshuffled, and I'm really questioning what's important to me. And this is I'm in this really narrow sub niche of I work with horses, and I work with people to have better relationships with their horses. And this isn't necessarily riding or training. It's
Right.
like directly communicating with them and, tapping into that magic that we're drawn to horses about. And, with the pandemic, it seems so, there's still people with horses. There's still people that need my services.
Yep.
I work on Zoom. I work worldwide. I have clients all around the world. But as far as like writing new articles or rewriting my books or making movies, it's like, how can I really spend time on this when there's these bigger issues, which can be related to our treatment of horses, our treatment of ourselves. But, my passion obviously is with horses and helping people understand it.
Yeah.
But now I find with all this, I'm just kind of like, okay, now how can I make this really relevant for a lot of people? Or do I? Maybe I just keep speaking to my tiny niche.
Oh man, do you ever? You double down right now. Really, if you can somehow financially make it so that you can give what you're going to do here in the next week, like just double down, get your messaging super clear. We're going to cover customer and offers in the next part of our time together here. And this is the time for you to double down. Do you do it out? Like, where is it, in the Ridge?
I did live on the Ridge for about 7 years. I'm in Rough and Ready now, but really
Okay,
it's all online. It's people around the world. I have 2 courses. One of them, people send me videos to evaluate. And then the other one is all just basically getting out of your own way, out of your old concepts of what you're supposed to do with the horse so that you can actually recognize the horse that's in front of you.
Wow. We had a friend who came from LA, and she spent 3 days somewhere up here, like just sitting in the company, like doing oh my gosh. She was someone who's done every workshop in the world. She goes, this one I haven't done. She goes, probably the most profound thing I ever did. So, hey, so you're going to love what we do next when we talk about really understanding the avatar, how to make the offer. But I would say a great piece, and you can talk to your classmate Kelly there, a great piece of the positioning in this is people may not have the answers right now.
Right.
For you, you know, for where you can go in your life. But I think that presencing and that sitting, you're not doing any of it live anymore.
Occasionally, I mean, you know, I was in Spain last year and Switzerland, and you know, people invite me all over the place.
Right, but not locally here. Like you're not doing any workshops.
I mean, I have my own horses here at home, and occasionally I'll invite people out, but
Yeah, interesting.
more I just go where they are.
Yeah, yeah, you're going to enjoy playing with the headlines and playing with the real benefits when we do this next part of the thing. So, wow, really cool to meet you. I'm glad you're here and you're doing that. But I think this is an opportunity exists here that it's not time. It's not a good time to wait until the key that you've always used fits back into the same lock. Right now, you got to put your key in some new places right now. I'd say it's really leaning into this message about the answer you need for moving on. Not you, I'm talking about you talking to your customer, might not be from another human being right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a really neat way for you to position that. You know, we can tell ourselves stories about our avatars or our buyers. We can go to bat for their financial limitations. And I'm going to talk in the next segment about that's the worst thing you can do is ever stick up for your avatar, for your prospects, for your eventual customers' limitations, financial, emotional, educational, anything. There are no limitations, and we're not allowed to speak to those. I have a balloon twister client who pays me, who I worked with him for 2 years, paid me $55,000 a year. In my head, a balloon twister made $100 an hour. Wasn't the case. This dude had money galore and he wanted to make his business grow, and we did. So I didn't fight. I didn't come at the proposition from the place of, oh my gosh, you make $125 an hour for twisting balloons. I came at it like, here's the powerful offer. Here's what we can do. And he said, when do we start? So don't go to bat for your avatar's limitations. So that's why I was asking if you do it live. I guarantee you there are people 3 hours from here who are convinced that there is not a human who can answer their questions. And your job through a headline, through a bullet points, through good copy, through a 1 minute video, a 90-second video, is to show them that they do well to take a day or 2 or 3 out of their life and sit with a 2,000-pound animal. So
Okay.
yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Hey, Barry, before you move on, you said something to Stormy like, if you can afford it, double down. I see a lot of businesses and a lot of people struggling. What are some strategies for people that really can afford it?
Yeah. Yeah, 2. One is on the real practical side. Probably 4 months into this, you guys have probably done all the super leaning you can. There isn't a mortgage company, there isn't a car loan company, there's not an insurance company that if you get on the phone with them, won't give you a break right now. Every single one will. If you're renting a place, maybe a landlord's got their own problem, but yeah, everyone can help you lean down. And then the second side of that is the not working with someone else, but working with yourself. Where are you spending your time? You know, we're all given this remarkable gift of 24 hours a day. And if you're spending some of it, if you're 3 shows away from finishing Netflix, you're probably not doubling down on your business. But what can we do to get our message out, to blog, to jump onto podcasts as guests? You know, I've heard most about Stormy's business, and Matthew's also. But there are places and people right now who need your message, and a lot of them have podcasts and a lot of them have platforms. So what value can you give to others who have platforms right now? May not pay for itself right away, but really what we can start doing in this day and age is start giving before we ask. Come with our hands full to new up propositions instead of our hands out. Have them out and full instead of out and empty. So those are 2 things we can do. Really looking at what we do with our time. I'll share a document with Rob. It's something I do. It's called Life First. It's basically a breakdown of how I live every day. And it's got 24 hours in it. Let me bring it up super fast and I'll just show it. Presenter view. Because there's a lot we can do, actually. Let me just pop out of this thing super quick. Drive Life First. This is, make yourselves a blueprint for your day and make sure you work into it. Life First. And I'm going to do the entrepreneur one because I think this is probably where we mostly are in this world right now. This is mine. Yours will look radically different, but here's what I do every single day. So, oh, and I have this as a blank template. I'll share this document with you, but this is, so mine is 2 hours, personal development, exercise, education. Usually it's Peloton, biking, hiking, swimming, and listening to an MP3 at the same time, all three. 4 hours, money-making activity. On my world, this is 4. So this is things I do 4 hours a day. Coaching, writing proposals, content, doing infrastructure for my courses, just sharpening my axe. This is stuff that actually brings money in. And you can do all these no matter what. This is 4 hours of family time. This is 2 hours of swinging for the fences. This is writing people on LinkedIn. This is getting on the phone with people. And this, it all boils down to, yeah, and what would I say too? It's coming up with these things. Who can I connect with? I've been on TED stage 6 times, so I have a massive TED network, and I just think, who can I help in the TED network? But swinging for the fences boils down to one really funny thing. It's like, who's that little devil voice on my left shoulder saying you have no right to talk to them? That's who I reach out to. So every day I do 2 hours of swinging for the fences, 6 hours of sleep. That's all my brain needs and allows me. And then this number at the end of all that math is 6. So I have 6 hours of flex time. And that doesn't mean for me laying on a hammock. You know, it's mostly downtime, but that 6 hours can also go into any of these that I'm really hot and working on. So yeah, sometimes I work more hours, but I don't know anyone who uses 24 hours and has 6 hours of flex time. So I'll share this doc with Rob, but find a way. How do you break your day up? What do you do that empowers you to be a stronger, more present, more valuable person? What are you doing? How many hours a day to actually make money? Things that you can invoice for. And if those are run on an old business that isn't working right now, you have to get resourceful. But really, what can you do to bring money in? Family time, relationship time, whatever, swinging for the fences, sleep, and flex time. So yeah, those 6 categories are pretty sweet little categories. All right, so let's do a, let me just see if I'm at the end of this one that we were doing. Boom. I think we were at the end of that. Okay, let me just put a bow around core values here so we can do this. With this core value in place, I can promise you that everything is more clear. You know the decisions to make, and we had some great conversations about what if it's not, and I love those. So thanks for Rob for prompting those out and the conversations that brought up. Trust yourself to take action. It's the best thing that we can do right now. With this core value and statement, you'll be aligned with your core values to move forward in your business. I heard Matthew's already doing that. Kelly's made some shifts around that stuff. Stormy's wondering how to do it, and I heard the core values come out of you. It's that communication. So what moves you forward in that place? And you get to come from that place of power instead of fear, or creativity instead of stagnation, or all those great examples that you guys put in the chat. You get to come from that first one instead of the second one. Yeah, and core values, the stronger you live by them, you will attract more opportunities. And if you come from the fear place, you repel the opportunities. So that's that's the piece I want to do in here. We kind of handled this stuff. Quick show of hands for those that are alive on screen. Does everyone feel like they have a core value that feels all right, at least for this version of where we're at right now? Gail, Jenny, cool. Get Shelby, yep, excellent. Love it. All right, very good. Do you guys want to do like a 2-minute little bio break or something? We're going to go into a new topic, or just stand up and jump. We're going to shift gears a little bit here. Yeah, so let's do a 2-minute break here. I'm going to step outside and jump, and we'll be back. back. We're back. We're coming back. Hey, guys. All right. And Guy turned into a muse. Well, I love that logo, actually. That's kind of a fun logo, isn't it? Paints a picture, which is perfect for what we're doing now. Let me just check the chat and see where people are at. We had a couple good. Leave my Tommy as a tool towards connection. Good. Kay Jarvis, let's see this. By COVID, I attend local farmers markets. Yeah. Local and regional goods that I stand behind. It's fresh and quality. It feels also like community support, bringing items to the public. Artists don't always have time or capability for it. Yeah. Oh, boy. My caravan is not able to participate in the markets. Yeah. Holy cow. Okay. So you guys, how about this? How about all these new rules that we have to play by? Isn't it something? I'm just something like, and I didn't get Kay's first name. Maybe it's Kay. But yeah, I didn't get her first name. But yeah, just, you know, when other regulations have say over what we do, there's a lot of challenging here. So I'm going to share an interview that just got published today that I did with an entrepreneur. He was talking about pivoting, and I'll share that with you guys after this. It was, I think, a 13-minute interview. You guys will love the production on this thing too. Boy, this guy was state of the art on how he produced this thing. So share that. But yeah, I may have some more ideas for you. Okay, good. Let's dig into the next part of what we're going to dig into here. No, we're not doing that. Good. We're going to dig into markets, avatars, offers. I want to kind of talk about all this stuff. How do we do this? This is I'm gonna go a little bit high level here, and if there's something along the way that digs in, put it in the chat. I have a little box open with that, and I can jump on things as it comes up. Understanding market, customers, prospects, expectations, and how to exceed them. Number one thing we can do to stick out today, because we're all competing with you know, a lot of online businesses, and I know the goal of this one is to have something live ASAP, which means it's not going to all be state of the art. It's not going to be perfect. So what do we have that we can hold on to? Shockingly, we have our mission statements, our core values, who we are, so that when someone does land in our world, they go, wow, where has this person been my entire life? And yeah, that's trickier if you're selling a widget that someone's just price shopping for. Whole different conversation. You can still do that, but you still need to find a reason for people to buy it from you. So how deeply do you understand your customers? This is a big question, and I'm going to kind of blow past it fast, but this will be in the slideshow that Rob will be able to share with you guys. You can spend a full day understanding your customer, giving that person a name, an age, where do they live, what do they read, what do they watch, what music do they like, what kind of car do they drive, do they have kids, are they divorced, have they ever been in a relationship, how old are they? The depth of that never stops. And understanding that, I think Kelly's laughing because that's like ground zero for copywriting. So she's like, yeah, I got this big bald guy, move on. But, you know, I want to stress it for a couple of the others here. We have to understand, like, we got to get inside their head so that the language we use, so that the headlines, the bullet points, the offers, every single thing is in line with them. You know, it's funny. I get to watch in some of my work, I get to watch websites with lots and lots of visitors live in real time with things called heat maps. They're sitting on servers. So when you're on a computer or a tablet, it can tell where your mouse is. Most websites, when they're clicked on, there's a thing called bounce rate. It's, do they just land on that page and leave? So bounce rates are fairly high. They're always usually, you know, if a page is under 70%, it's doing an incredible job. But most pages have a bounce rate of in the 90s. The mouse on a heat map never moves more than an inch from the back button. In fact, someone will click on something and the mouse automatically moves up just habitually to about within an inch of the, that's the hottest spot on a lot of these heat maps where the mouse is sitting. So how quickly do we have to grab somebody's attention with a headline or with our core values so that they go, wow, this is somebody we can connect with? And we do that by having strong core values and a deep understanding of our avatar so that we know how to write to them. So their decision to do business with you or to hit the back button depends deeply on this understanding of them. Your ideal customer doesn't believe you at first, and that's just a fact. We have to do something, and we can usually do it with a line of text or a picture or something that just kind of says, yeah, this is me. In my opening, for when I'm talking to entertainers, I teach entertainers about the business side of show business. I say my video starts with, I'm a lot like you. I spent 4 years kicking turkey legs off stages so that I could set up my props and do shows for drunks in the sun. Every entertainer who's ever worked a festival knows that reality. So in the first sentence, I'm like, I'm a lot like you. That's where we have to jump into the conversation with them. So yeah, so all right, so we can hear about a few of those. Let's go through this lesson, and then let's hear a little bit more about this. Slide deck was put together when I had a longer amount of time to do this with. I want to make sure we cover everything with you guys, and we'll come back around and hit some of this after more of the lesson start. So understanding your customer makes assessing viability of your project really, really easy. Matthew understands his customers super well. They're over a certain age and need insurance. I mean, great. He understood his avatars at the bar. He knew how to talk to them because they had just come in for the night. They're with friends. Like, that gives you a language. It gives you a personality. It lets you smile when you first meet them. Like, all the little details are in place. You know how to address your customer. It's fantastic. Stormies, you're going to have to paint a picture for your people. You're going to have to understand them deeply enough that by the time they hear about this crazy thing, when they land on the page, they see, and I'm saying crazy thing, not as it's crazy, but just like it's so far from what they're thinking. Like, you have to intersect their frustration and their desire for a new reality, for a new opportunity. You have to be a bridge across that quickly. So it's really, really, really exciting stuff to get into it at this level.
Hey, Barry, I just throw something in there.
Please.
This stuff is super important, and Aaron, who's on our call, and we're going to have a whole session on Wednesday about marketing and telling your story, and it really is going to align nicely with what Barry's setting up here.
I'm so glad.
And also, I just, as a kind of a reality check, if you have goods or services, let's say I use this a candlestick. Let's say you sell candle holders, and you're used to tourists in town, and they're going to buy your $30 candle holder. Well, now you can't just simply put the candle holder online and expect it to sell for $30 because they'll just go to Amazon. So some of the things that Barry's talking about is really understanding what their needs are. And I just keep that in mind, is that it's not just taking a picture and putting something online, putting a price on. That's a good step towards the end goal. But this is going to make or break what you're doing.
Yep.
So,
and we're going to talk about story arc for sure on that. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, great point. Good. So this is where we're at. We're thinking, why in the world would they shop anywhere else? Like, that's the level that we want to connect with them. And granted, the ultimate challenge would be a candlestick, but I've seen great copywriting exercises on things like there's that great scene in Wolf of Wall Street where he hands that guy the pen and he says, "Sell me this pen." But oh my gosh, you know what he talks about? He doesn't talk about the pen at all. He talks about the opportunity that the person has when they have this pen, the transformation that they can create in somebody's life, and then what that customer's like. And at the end of it, the guy's crying. He's like, "I want that pen." Just a great example of just anything, but it has to be wrapped around an opportunity, transformation, and ownership experience. We'll dig into those a little bit here. So keep that in mind. Like, we want to create an experience. Why would they go anywhere else? So how you communicate. He or she who talks the most leaves with the product. This is a great old sales adage. We need to say what it is. We need to paint the picture of, like I just said, and we'll dig into these: opportunity for them, transformation that they can take to move closer to that desire that they have, and then ownership experience. What's life like when they've embraced these two, the opportunity and transformation? What's their life like? Because it gets challenging. Gets challenging with a pen. Gets challenging with a candle holder. Insurance, simple. I mean, you get to talk about, where they're at right now. What's the opportunity? The transformation you can take is to, let's get started on doing this thing. And the ownership experience on the other side of that is, this is how secure your life is. This is how you're living right now, and what's possible now that you're living with this security. So all of these have a piece of that. So So how did they learn about you? This is really big. This is where it all begins before they actually ever even set eyes on your virtual shop or read something you've wrote. Did they learn about you through a strategic launch? Was it for word of mouth? Was it from advertising? All three of these are very different customer journeys, and they have to be treated as such. The good thing about the internet is we have the ability to really control that experience through paid advertising. We can send people directly to a page that picks up where the ad left off. Best case scenario. If it's a strategic launch, you've already revealed a little bit about it. Now you're saying now it's open. Now the cart's open, and the cart closes in a few days. So you have to kind of jump on now. That's more for courses, information trainings, webinars, summits, things like that. And is it word of mouth where they just happen to amble in at some point and, they'll amble out and they'll come? Ideally, all three of these, we want to collect an email address. So depending on what you're offering, there may or may not be a wonderful reason for you to get people to opt in for something. My strong advice is do things where you can control the experience through an email opt-in. Fairly simple technology to do that, to have a form on the page, something you can offer them that in exchange for an email address. With the candlestick holder, maybe like 5 great candlestick scenes in movies and what the lessons for your life, or with the pen, how to what are the important talking points of selling anything. With insurance, great to have an opt-in, of course. And that can be a nice series of emails about how somebody's life was in the risk of going south until somebody had this conversation with them, and then they needed long-term care and had it in place. All of it is about, you have to get an email address from people, because chances are the click to the sale is a little bit of a fantasy. So what we can do, and there's other ways to get opt-ins, which is kind of beyond which is a little bit beyond the scope of this conversation, but there are ways to get opt-ins with social media pixels. I can tell you about. Maybe someone will handle those this week, I hope. But a pixel on your website, so when they come, they're tagged with a little bit of a pixel, and you can then target advertise them. Yeah, a lot of ways to do that. Not going to go down that rabbit hole right now, unfortunately.
Okay. Jennifer has a hand raised.
Yeah, Jennifer, jump in, please. Jennifer, let's see. I'm going to unmute you if I can. No, but it's not letting me unmute you. Can you hit unmute down in the lower left, Jennifer? There you are.
I didn't have a question.
Oh, okay. No problem. Your hand was up and we got it back
No,
down.
that was from a while ago. You said wave your hand if you're there.
Oh my gosh, how perfect. No problem.
Sorry.
Good. No, zero problem. It's all good. So what's these folks' first experience with you when they come to your website, that you're going to have your situation? Are you giving or are you taking? Is it an opt-in in exchange for information or something they want, something of value? And just so you guys are familiar with the terms, that page is often called a landing page or an opt-in page or a squeeze page. Those 3 words are very interchangeable. And are you offering something that's known as a lead magnet, something you can give them in exchange for that email? It's really a good thing to do. Is their first experience just like a value add where you just kind of say, hey, here's a blog or a video or an article, information without you asking for something? Great. Those are good too. Those are great for brand awareness, for maybe they can get shared. If you're doing that though, you have to have something that's free on your website, which is a pixel. You can get them through Facebook, you can get them through Google Ads, you can get them through everywhere, but it basically lets those big, powerful forces know that this person was on this site. So one day when you want to do advertising, and hopefully it won't be that long in the future, you can say, show this ad to everybody who's been on my page. Really powerful. It's like a way to getting an opt-in without them even knowing they were opting in. Or is it an offer? Are you taking someone straight from an ad straight to here, buy my candle holder? It's big. It's a big jump. That stuff's going to happen way more from the word of mouth or from an ad. Yeah. So got to get clear on what's their first experience with you. And depending on your business, it's going to be different for each of us. We can talk into that. So each of these are absolutely viable options. No problem at all. Your market will dictate your There are expectations. You know, when you go to Amazon, you're going there to buy something. When you click on something about getting rid of acne, maybe you're going to have an opt-in box, but you're going there to solve a certain problem. When you go to buy a car, if you go into a Kia dealership, you're going to have one experience. It's going to be expected. If you go into a Jaguar dealership, it's going to be a totally different experience. So the market you're in, they're going to dictate the expectations they have of you. So try to match those and exceed them. You know, really let them know that this is a place for you because, and you have to some extent a real specialty in that. Like Matthew's thing would be like, you know, I do insurance for seniors because I had to watch my grandparents die broke. You know, I have no idea. I'm just like, why are you doing it? What's the big why behind you doing this? How do people know that, or do you have some special authority? You know, Stormy, who's, you know, watched thousands of lives transform because of the communication with horses. It's like, you know, is the human connect? Have you given up hope in the human faith, you know, or whatever that headline is that just says, hey, there's another opportunity here. Let's talk about opportunity. Good. Quick on this. And then knowing your customers. If you have return customers, easiest sale in the world, hardest sale in the world to make is the first sale with any business. The hardest sale in the world will be the very first one. And to that end, you are doing a disservice to your business and your customers if you do a one and gone sale. If you're looking for one and done, it's not the way you should be running a business. If you've earned the trust and earned the click and earned the relationship capital, you have to spend it by saying, what do these people need now? Where are they on their customer journey? Amazon does that so well, of course. You know, you see it when you put something in your cart. Customers also bought, and you get an email confirmation that also has, you may want this with it. Or you bought 100 trash bags, and guess what? Like a month later, you get an email saying, you know, are you running out of trash bags? Like that first sale is the hardest. So what kind of customers do you have? Are they emotional buyers? Are they logical buyers? That goes back to that first slide that says, how well do you know your customers? Emotional buyers, they want to be swept away. Logical buyers, man, they want bullet points. They want to feel like there's, you know, science behind this, and they're not the first ones to do it. Are they knowledge or are they novice in the field? Do you have to do more education before you go for the sale? There's a sales cycle, and knowing that is a really big piece of it. And I know someone will cover that this week. Good. Are they price conscious people? Are they quality conscious? Are they looking for the best? Are they experience seekers? Have they been recommended? So speak to your customer and your customer only. Like that's what we need to do, is just make sure our message, our headlines, our bullet points, they speak to that person that we know so well. Because where's the mouse? Upper left corner near the back button. Don't give them a chance to click on that. Good. And as far as the customer experience, as much as we can control it, the better. The more that we can stay in control of the conversation. And that doesn't mean doing a monologue, but it means controlling where the conversation's going, asking pointed questions, giving videos and asking for feedback, you know, asking them what was their best experience with this. These customer experiences are all about the thoughts and phrases and characteristics and beliefs. Like what is everything that they're going through, and how do we hand in glove fit that? So does everyone here on this call, if I just say, raise your hand, do you have a good understanding of who your customers are? Do you think you have like in fact, let's do this from 1 to 5. 0 is I have no idea who my customers are. 5 is like, I know them, I've been selling to them forever. Where are you at between 0 and 5? Just hold that up in front of your camera. I see 3s and 4s and 4s. Awesome. 4s, good. 2s, okay. Good. I see a 4. Awesome. So you guys were at 4. That little extra bit of refining is where that's where the more sales closes are going to come, and the bigger connection. And it's a great, powerful place to be. I'm still learning about my avatar. I started in 2009 talking to entertainers, and I still learn about them all the time. And I look for the phrases. I look for the language they use. That's the kind of stuff that really brings you a lot bigger. And language, as we know, evolves. So, you know, what are they doing now? How are they speaking about their problems now? Oh, good. Shelby and Stormy put some 5s in the chat.
It seems like it's shifted, or could be shifting. If you think you know who your customer was in January, it might be a different person now.
Yeah, man, isn't that the truth? I know Stormy's has. It's funny. I would venture this crazy guess with the horse people. It was very much a luxury purpose, and something that people thought, you know, I know a woman in England, she's a a branding expert, and I have her speak on my group every year. She says there's three reasons that, and she's gone off branding, and now she just does these excursions to like Marrakesh or Istanbul. She does these amazing things for 12 women at a time. They're super expensive, but she said, I only market to three things. I market that they want these, the people who come on these they want experiences that feel somewhat dangerous, but are totally safe. They want it to be shareable. Like there's amazing pictures they can take and share with their friends, and they want a community. And like those three boxes, and I think that might be really similar to yours, Stormy. Like it feels kind of dangerous and way out there, but it's safe. There's easily shareable. You know, they can share it on their social and look like heroes. And the third is they want a community. So boy, those three things, she got away from everything else. Nothing else matters. Every single line in the copy, every headline, every part of the offer has to check one of those boxes. And that's when she nailed it. And now these things are filled in advance. I don't know what she's doing right now. I'm talking to her in a few months. She's probably they're not going to Marrakesh right now. I know that, but the last one I think was $22,000 for this. And it included the flight. They got picked up in a limo. They got taken, like they had a massage booked a week in advance. So the second they got from the airport, everything was just so great. So yeah, really cool. Good. So we got to understand our customers and where they are. Without a reason to engage, most will hit the back button, as I said, or tell you they'll be back. And the spoiler alert is they won't be back. So let's not give them that chance. Purchase, email address, a social media pixel, a search engine pixel, lots of ways to track people, to bring them back through continued conversation. Good. So opportunity is that first one. We have to show them a new opportunity. Price is a super simple question, but the truth is so few people buy on price. In Matthew's business, insurance rates are all over the world. They'll buy from someone they know and love and trust and have been either referred to or they just have an instant trust with you. The price is the easiest thing to say, but I would have never sold $20,000 for an hour of juggling if they bought on price, because there's $150 options for an hour of juggling all over the world. The $30 calendar has to show some new opportunity. What's an opportunity that this pen, that this candle holder, that this 3 days with a horse, that this insurance, that this copy, what's the experience? What's the opportunity that they can't see right now? What can you tell them about? Get at least a sentence. What's an opportunity that your ideal customer has in their future right now that they don't even know about? Get at least one sentence down. And if you can't come up with one, I'm going to go back to that slide that talked about market viability. Like, you have to be able to have some idea of an opportunity that exists for them. My opportunity that I talk about on my landing page is to learn how to sell your act so that one day you can measure your success in the number of days you're home. That's a big opportunity that no entertainer has ever thought about. They only measure their success in how many days they're on the road. Spoiler alert for entertainers, we hate being on the road. After a certain point in life, we hate being on the road. When we're young and single and flights were easy and gigs were great, we loved being on the road. But now the idea, the opportunity that you could measure your success by the number of days you're home is insane. So what's an opportunity that you can offer your person that they don't even know exists right now? How are we doing on time? Let me see, because I'd love to hear a few of these, but we'll keep going. Yeah, we have about a half hour. Okay, let me dig into this next one here. This next one's transformation. Your customers want a transformation. They want something to be different in their lives. Show them this, and price becomes literally a line item. Whether it's a candle holder or whether it's a $60 handmade pen or a $200 handmade pen, or it's a $2,000 course on running your business as an entertainer. The most expensive thing that anyone ever sold to entertainers was $17 lecture notes when I came on the scene in 2009. Somebody had lecture notes from a Magic, and that was the highest price thing, was $17. And I presented a $2,000 course, and I offered them an opportunity and a transformation. And then the price became nothing more than a line item. Oh, that cost $2,000? Perfect. We give them a transformation, a lesson or an experience, a new way of doing something that brings them closer to that opportunity that we just presented. So this may be a little bit of a teaching piece. It's great. There's like this amazing, it's like an 8-minute, oh my gosh, I should have thought of this. I'll try and find this and send this to Rob. Let me just put the pen ad. It's an 8-minute Facebook ad about a pen that you dip in ink. An old school one, but boy, they talk about the transformation. Oh, it's so beautiful. It gives me goosebumps. But that's what we get to do. So Stormy's thing, a transformation is that maybe the answer to your next life's challenge or your next, the answer to the big philosophical question you've been sitting with in your life isn't going to come from you or another human being, but it's going to come from sitting in the presence of a wise 2,000, 3,000 pound animal, not for 5 minutes, but for a day. 2 days. Man, follow that up with testimonials of people who had that transformation. You've talked about this opportunity. You've done a little bit of teaching about what the transformation looks like. And then the third piece of this is the ownership experience, because from here we get to talk about what's possible for them in their life once they realize that this opportunity is out there and have begun to take steps towards the transformation. Let me spend 1 minute talking about something that's very basic marketing 101, and some of you guys may not know about this. And in case you don't, this will at least plant a seed for something for you to think about, but it's called a problem solution path. And every selling strategy in the world goes back to it. And actually, these two books, these are amazing books if you want to go deeper into this work. Tested Advertising Method, John Caples, and Influence, Robert Cialdini. Both of these books talk about problem solution paths. And every commercials do it in 30 seconds on TV. 30 seconds, they tell you something that's wrong. They tell you a solution. And now that you know the solution, there's a new problem. How do I get this thing? And usually they'll follow up, go to your local store, dial this 800 number, go to this website. So it's a problem solution problem. And if we can do that in advertising, big picture overview of something we could spend 3 days doing examples and digging into problem solution. What's a problem your people have? How do you acknowledge it? What's the solution they could entertain? That's the transformation piece. And then the new problem is, how do I get it?
Barry, someone's asking if you could repeat the books.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Be able to grab these from the replay. Influence, Robert Cialdini. Cialdini, I've heard people say it. Influence, The Science of Persuasion. And this one was originally written in 1934, I think. This is the 5th edition. Yeah, this is the 5th edition. Very little's changed between 1934. Testing Advertising Methods. Both of these will talk about the problem solution path. John Caples, C-A-P-L-E-S. These are the kind of things guys like me enjoy reading. Terrible. And then summarizing. Good. So mixed with that stuff, as we're doing our business here this week, always think about what's the opportunity. You guys got a sentence. I know you all have a sentence on that. What's a transformation that we can offer them? You know, is it have copy that your clients actually relate to? Is it have a hard conversation with your family about insurance? Is it entertain the idea that the truth about the next chapter in your life isn't going to come from a therapist or a course, but from a most unlikely mentor? That's transformation. That's that middle piece of it. And then the ownership experience. What's your life like now that you have this thing? What's possible for you now that you have this? Okay. Whew. We're high level here. I'm going to count on you. Oh, and I was smart. I put question comments inside because I know some of us may be lost here. So I'd really, at this point, love to spend some time digging into your business, your avatars. And avatar is another word for ideal customer, your ideal customer, your market, customer expectations, any of the stuff we've talked about. Let's just, let's unmute ourselves and kind of just say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about, or here's where I'm stuck, or here's something you said I'd like to dig deeper into. Take some time to gather a question or two, and understanding that it's intimidating and we fire hose this thing pretty hard.
have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So much of what my success or failure will largely depend on convincing people that I'm gonna represent them with integrity.
Mm.
And I will, and I know that. But I also know that saying it is very, very easy, and convincing people of it is much harder. Do you have any advice?
Sure. Have you done this at all, or is it brand new for you, Matthew?
I'm brand new. I'm used to selling whiskey, and that's simpler in some ways.
So let's talk about this. This is fantastic, actually. There is something in marketing which it's kind of it's a part of it's a part of everything. It kind of runs through the opportunity we talked about, the transformation, and the ownership experience, and it's called an origin story. Yeah, you guys may want to write that down. Origin story is, here's mine. I alluded to it earlier in this thing. I'm a lot like you. You know, I spent 5 years kicking turkey legs off of stages at Renaissance festivals so that I could do a show in the sun for drunk people. Like, that's a piece of my origin story. So your origin story may become a really big part of this. You know, for a decade, I was in bars doing this, and I saw people growing old, and the conversations they had, and what I'm able to listen to as a bartender, the conversations, the sentences that I get to hear, a lot of it was wrapped around fear of the future. As people socially started to loosen up, you know, there would be the big bravado talk, but there would also be people who talked about the fear. And what I found out about was that a lot of people haven't set themselves up for the next chapter. They set themselves up for Friday night. And if they're really advanced, they set themselves up for next month. It was malpractice of me to keep doing what I was doing with the insights that I had from serving people drinks at, you know, 2 or 3 feet away for a dozen years. And that's when I went to school and started studying about human behavior, psychology, money, insurance, and all that led me to this place. Now, there's going to be some version of an origin story that builds trust quickly with people. Once you've done it for 2 or 3 people, and I sincerely hope you'll reach into your network, because if you can get a couple people in your network to do it, if they don't have your last name, that would even be better. Not because your last name's impossible to pronounce, but just because, you know, it'll sound like actual customers. If you can get testimonials with a picture and a first name and a last initial of people who have done that journey with you, and maybe if they're really strong, they'll be able to jump in front of their iPhone camera and just say, hey, Matthew just changed my life. I was lost, didn't have long-term care, didn't have health insurance, didn't have home insurance, whatever you're selling, and he made it so easy. And I trusted Matthew because, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like those are testimonials that'll help you. But yeah, get yourself an origin story written that kind of really does the heavy lifting of building know, like, and trust factor. And then to some extent, you can share that through blogs. You can share that on social. You can share that in paid advertisements. Are you having anyone talk about advertising, or that's probably too advanced for this week, Rob? Is someone doing that this week?
We will touch on that for sure.
Cool. You know, and
on social media in particular. Right.
And good. And if you guys can do that, great. But also just do like a lot of what we've talked about today, is taking this high level stuff that's going to come into play and then say, wow, what'd that guy talk about? What'd they talk about? But the advertising dashboard and Facebook, where I live a lot of my day, it knows you better than you know yourself by the videos you watch, by the articles you read, by the links you click on, by the pages you like. You know, there's this side of Facebook where we put on happy pictures of us, and then there's this other side of us, you know, that clicks on things and watches and spends 10 minutes watching a video. As an advertiser, you get to show things to those people. So people who are studying books that they may not talk about on social, you know, they may follow a page of somebody about insurance, or they may have just watched a video about mortality. Those are great people to target for ads on life insurance, because there's a bit of a magic that happens behind the scenes for those people seeing your ad. So yeah, so origin story is a big takeaway from that. Helping someone from your network, ASAP, a few people. Aim to get 6 customers from your network and people they know. And if you're not on LinkedIn and you're in business, you really need to build a LinkedIn page. Hopefully someone will talk about that this week. LinkedIn is all about not who you've been so much as who you are now and where you're heading. That's where the description gets written from the people you really serve. So Do you have anything on LinkedIn? If you don't, I have an amazing interview I did with a New York Times bestselling author on LinkedIn. I'm happy to share with this group.
So yeah, Barry, just send me a list of links and I'll make sure that everybody gets it.
Perfect. Yep. You can put it on the resource page for that. He really talks about the best way to use LinkedIn. So yeah, I would focus on that platform pretty well, Matthew, though, and then you'll be able to target.
Great. That was all really helpful, actually.
What's that?
One of the things that comes to
Really
mind.
helpful. Thank you.
Oh yeah, good.
Sorry to interrupt, Matthew.
Go ahead, Rob. It was double up.
Yeah, that kind of brings to mind that there's product businesses and service business. So since we're talking about e-commerce, could you talk a little bit about service business and e-commerce?
Yeah. In my world, just to be completely transparent, is a lot more about service. You know, it's info products, it's people doing launches for things. That said, I've worked with a lot of people selling products, and it's still, we are in a commodity world, right? I mean, the candle holder is for sale everywhere. We have to build some sort of a relationship, know, like, and trust. The origin story is a huge way to do that. Social proof is a huge way to do that. But more than anything, it's having a really clear opportunity, transformation, ownership experience with people. And the best way to do that is what Kelly does up there, is telling a story through copywriting, whether that copy is delivered through writing or through video. People want to know, people want to connect with a reason bigger. And there's going to be price shoppers. I'm not going to say the best copy in the world, the best video in the world could overdo a price shopper. But one of the most comfortable things you can do is really get used to the idea that there are your ideal customers, and then there's everybody else. And the intersection of the Venn diagram of those two may be kind of small, but the more that you can write to and serve, connect with, support those right customers, the better chance you're going to have for making that first sale and them staying with you going on. I don't know exactly the best way to take a store. Rob gave this example at the top, you know, take a store and just start taking pictures of your stuff and expecting to sell it and compete with Amazon's. Going to be difficult. Best thing you can do is, I mean, here's a way I think people can do it who have a store that's local. I think there was someone in a past one where I spoke at. Target an ad towards people in Sacramento and the Bay Area who, couple other qualities. I mean, you don't just target it towards them. There's a couple other things that you can narrow down the field with. Maybe like to travel. Maybe at some point they've been, yes, you can target people who live in Sacramento who have at some point checked in, done the Facebook check-in somewhere in Nevada County. That's going to be a dang good group of people to show an ad to. And maybe they have a good experience with Yuba Blue or Yabobo or something like that. And showing an ad that's directly to those people, offering them some sort of a special that's saying, hey, here's a way for you to shop at Yabobo so that when things open up again, we're still here. There's an emotional appeal there, right? There's a connection. They get to remember their time they were there. Or a restaurant, you know, order from us once a week so that when you're able to go out again, we're still here. Like, you're appealing to somebody's bigger sense of community at that point, and it's really powerful. So yeah, you're going to have to do something that's beyond saying I got a candlestick and it's $30. And I have no doubt that every single thing we've talked about that's come out of this fire hose today, grab the recording and listen to this on a hike sometime maybe. But yeah, I'm glad you all have notes. Find a way to make the connection a little deeper than just the price, because those aren't your customers. Yeah. Yeah, either next or deeper into that one. Let's dig in a little more. Let me ask this: who feels like what we've talked about today doesn't relate to me at all? Because if there is someone who's sitting in that place right now, let's demystify some of that. Wow, nobody. That's awesome. I love that. Okay. You guys on the phone want to unmute. If you want to unmute from the phone, it's *6 will unmute you. Just on your phone.
So Barry, I hear you loud and clear about the story and knowing your audience and all that. There is a step, which is which is getting the candlestick holder and putting a price tag on it. And then you're going to need to then tell the story. So there's some mechanical things that we're going to work through in this class. And then I think doing everything Barry's talked about, keeping that in mind is important, but also recognize that you are going to need to get the candlestick holder out there and be able to accept credit cards and have a platform. So keeping what he's talking about in mind is really important.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And there's some people in this course. I saw the faculty outline. There's people who are great at that. Monday, Rob agreed. And I said, this is the time to set the mindset piece. I would hate to see you guys at the end of the week and start talking about avatars and start talking about offers and start talking about ownership and opportunity and all this stuff. So I'm glad we're doing this early. You're going to be able to lay this transparent sheet over everything that you do this week, which are the mechanical pieces, which are hugely important. Thank goodness there are tools that make this stuff so easy, man. From, oh my gosh, from Shopify to, Thrivecart, just being able to put something up. Boy, the amount of work and time that went into stuff back in 2009 to put something online. I still have a sticker on my window here. My camera doesn't reach, but there's this little sticker like my merchant account sent me. You had to have a gateway and a merchant account. It was like $230 a month for those two things before I sold anything. Now you get a Stripe account and they take 2.7% of the sale. So, I mean, from day one, you can be in business for literally no money. It's crazy. And drag and drop builders are great. Everything used to require an expert in something. So to whatever extent possible, the mechanics have been simplified. The messaging, the stuff that John taught back in 1934 are still as real as ever, about an origin story, about opportunity and transformation. So yeah, dig into the mechanical pieces, dig into the story, use your network, and build some know, like, and trust factor with people. I've no doubt you can do it. I know at the end of the week, we're going to be back on doing some Q&A, and I'll look forward to watching what you guys have done with that. It's in my calendar.
So Barry, as you can see how he workshopped Matthew's business, he's really good at it, obviously. So we have him for a few more minutes. We can talk logistics and some syllabus and things like that, or you can unmute yourself and give his brain a shot at giving you some good ideas.
Yeah, use me up. I'd love a good challenge. It's Monday.
Hello.
Hey. Good to see you.
So I'm
Hi,
a
Gail.
photographer, and I have a website now, but I want to transform it to something more useful. And when you're talking about telling you a message, when I think about what I want to say, it sounds so hackneyed and overused. Like, look at the world through my eyes. I want to put you there, or see my vision of what the river is like. Things like that. I really believe them, but it sounds so hackneyed.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the great problem with this, Gail. If your copy ever includes the word me or mine, and both the examples you just gave did, you got to transform that. When somebody lands on a website, when someone comes to read about somebody, if it's about them, they're gone instantly. So, it's all the opportunity for those folks is to see their family through the eyes of a photographer who's shown families what they really look and feel like for 40 years. Whatever that story is, how do you make it about the opportunity for the person? I love that you grab those lines and that you own that it sounds hacky. I mean, that's what happens. I've worked with entertainers who love talking about the awards they've won. Nothing could matter less. Doesn't ever come into play. Someone's having somebody wants a family portrait taken. You can have a simple thing on your website that says the picture that you take of your family on your iPhone with the 10-second timer tells one story, and it's not the one that you want your great grandchildren to know. Like, find a way.
Landscape photographer.
What's that?
I'm a landscape photographer.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So whatever. I'm sorry. I was giving just a little more generic one about a family, but you know, that the memories of the places you love. You know, we can all shoot those. We can all do those. But what's it look like? Why have, you know, have you had success selling art?
Yes.
This is great. So if you've had success, this is going back to Matthew's thing, you know, leverage that success, Gail. It's like, why have savvy art collectors spent $10,000 on my art of a picture of something they could have taken with their iPhone? It's like, you have to build a story that's intrigue. So there's a story that goes along with a photo, with a landscape. And that's your job, is to tell that. It's not about you. It's about the person who might be buying it, realizing that a very small fraction of people who land here are gonna buy that. Do you do, like, if they have something that they want shot, do you go shoot that, or do you have ones you've already taken and they buy those?
No, it's my collection of photos. Lately, it's mostly of the river.
Yeah. So you've sold those. So it's telling a story of an opportunity that they have, maybe to remember it, or to you know, be instantly transported back into the feelings they had when they were at that spot, or to be the only ones who own, you know, if it's a one-off, if it's, you know, not duplicated anywhere, or if they just want to show something off. I mean, there's a faction of luxury buyers who just want stuff because it's one. Getting in front of those people is the only challenge. And again, I'll go back to what I said to Matthew. How can you use your network of people who have bought? Can you collect testimonials of what do they feel? What does it take them back to? What does it mean to them to have, you know, a Gail Lipson original? What does it mean to have that hanging in their house? And then it's getting in front of them and having them maybe share that with their friends. You can do targeted advertising. I mean, for fine art, you target people who read like, what are the top, like, magazines? Canasta, something. I had a client who advertised in this, like, Cigar Aficionado. You know, just these magazines that attract these people, and you can just target the people who like that magazine, follow that, watch videos that are along the way of that. But yeah, it's not going to be your common average everyday buyer. So you don't have to worry. The good news is you don't have to worry about talking to them, Gail. You can keep all that out of the conversation, and you just need to get good at talking about what's it mean, what's the opportunity, and what's the opportunity in their life once they have an original Gail Lipson hanging on their wall in their office. And it's creative writing. It's you may want to tag into Kelly's brain there. You may just want to kind of go, hey, what's a big, and you know what? You'll probably know it's right if it just sounds like, when you read it, scares the hell out of you. It goes, whoa, you know, that's so big. It's like, that's the world those people play in. You know, when you go into a Jaguar dealer, they don't offer you water and bring it to you in a cup. It's like a beautiful bottle of Voss or something in a glass bottle, because, you know, that's what those people in there are expecting. So the salesman may be going, oh my gosh, I just drink tap water, but he's not going to serve that to his customer. You have to meet them where they're at. So think big, talk to your past people, ask them, what does it mean to have that painting hanging in your office, bedroom, or living room? They'll give you the words, Gail.
One thing I found that helps is often my best-selling photographs have intriguing names.
Right. That's part of the story, isn't it? That's part of the origin story of that. Why is it called that? I always think the wildest thing in the world was like naming jazz songs, you know, it's like, and now a little bit of love. And it's like, you know, that could have just easily been called, you know, My Cold Water Bottle. It's just so funny. So like, I think it's about the name. I think you need to look at that. Like, what are all the pieces that go into building the story that people tell themselves about your product? Yeah, Gail Lipson Photography. I'm just looking you up right now.
Anyone else want to unmute themselves? Go for it.
Please. Wow, this is cool. Yeah. I mean, look at. Yeah. So, I mean, here's the work. And here's the challenge for you, is to talk about the origin story of this. you know, Gail, and this is an experience, because someone who comes here may see this, but there's not a story with it yet. There's not a name, and there's not a where were you when you took this? Why did it call to you? What does it mean? Like that kind of thing. You can even just feel how that makes a difference.
Actually, the title of that picture is Courage.
Wow, I love that. Yeah. I love that. And there may be some really cool template that goes with this, like title, inspiration, location, and then artist's mind. You know, just something about that where you get to just kind of riff on it for 100 words. Like, what does it mean to you? Because that's the story that someone will buy about this stuff. I mean, and sadly, you're in a world where I can right click on this and hit save, or I can just, you know, grab a screen capture, and it's terrible. Like and the wrong people will do that all day long. Count on it, you know, and you may even want a bigger copyright that's a little more evasive, you know, maybe something in a 50% opacity across the whole picture. I've seen artists do that because, you know, it's something that doesn't disturb with the photo, but really doesn't make this just so damn stealable in this world we live in, which is so hard to do that. So easy to do that kind of stuff. And it's so hard for the artist to lose their work that way. So
Barry, I think we got time for one more, and
thanks, Rob.
Pamela wants to go, I think.
I love it. Let's do it.
No?
I have a question. No?
Please.
Actually, a question. I think you gave an idea. Didn't realize that this was going to be, I thought it was going to be more mechanics, and whoops.
I turned you off
Okay.
because we weren't hearing your audio too well. So now I can hear your audio well.
Oh, okay. So I thought this was going to be more about the mechanics, and I actually know a lot about doing e-commerce.
Awesome.
But this has been really, really helpful for me because I'm trying to go in a different direction. I used to teach jewelry making, and I can't now because we can't join together. So I'm thinking about doing online courses, but one of those shadow values is I don't think I'm good enough. But then you tied it in with with the origin story, where maybe I could say you don't have to be an expert to learn these things. Make it more like it's all about you and me, and I'm in your situation. You don't have to go to some fancy school to learn. You could just pick it up and learn, and I can be there to help. So I guess it's not, I'm just that I'm able to tie it all together, and it's been very insightful. So thank you.
I love that. I was just kind of bring up a couple of photos of people I work with. One's a photographer who sells digital training. He's doing it all online. Another woman just had a $330,000 launch. Her name's Amy Small. She teaches knitting. Knit College. Geez, I'm just trying to find. She's just killing it. Gosh, she so dominates Pinterest. That's all that comes up. But there is, what's your first name? I'm sorry, it just says P.
Oh, Pam.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Pam.
Pam. Yeah, Pam. So there's so many ways. And it's, again, it goes to the photos that we were just talking about with Gail. It's like they want your story. They wanted Amy's story about knitting, but all of it transferred online beautifully. She's making more now than she's ever made by doing it online. She's got audience all over the world. So, you know, come up with that origin story, come up with that headline, that opportunity, that transformation, that ownership experience. It is huge. And I love the idea of you doing this through online courses. It's very big. Hey, there's a wonderful app I can tell you. I host all my courses here. I'm going to put it in the chat here. They've done something so remarkable. Membervault.co. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. There's no M at the end of that. It's just membervault.co/membervault.co. My tan types calm instantly. They will let you use a fully functioning version of their platform with members and everything else and courses. All my platform is taught on it. First 100 members free for full functioning, no time limit. No, if you guys have an idea for a course, get an account on these guys. By 100 members, you'll be making money, even if you let the first 50 in free just to test it. But I do my $2,000 paid course inside Member Vault. I love everything about it. I love the couple who owns it, the tech support they have. It's drag and drop simple. And you can have your course, Pam, right inside there without even knowing what happened. My favorite tool. Here's mine. Let me just log in real quick. I'll just, and I didn't make mine beautiful. But here's my dashboard where I build my courses at. One of my products is here. These are the 3 I currently run. Edit COVID cohort. This was I just put this together on a whim, built every module the week ahead of these people. But yeah, you can have, all your lessons here, pre-start course, they click here, all their agreements. Inside a lesson, it's got the video, the downloads, the activity, Q&A, gamification, member of all.co, all free, first 100 members. Build a course in here if you're thinking of doing anything like that. So, all right, Rob, I overdid myself.
You didn't overdo it. It was great. Well, thank you so much, Barry. That was incredible. So tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., we're going to have Corey, and he's going to talk a lot about the nuts and bolts of getting a store online and some of the platforms and some of the tech stuff. So it's a good change of pace for what Barry's doing today. And look for an email from me with links from Barry, the recording of this class, and all kinds of housekeeping stuff. So typically, I'll do the class, and then in the evening, you'll get an email from me. But in the meantime, feel free to email me, ask me questions. Be sure to sign up with SBDC if you haven't already. And I love it. We're going to end on time.
Love it.
So thanks for joining.
Bye, everyone. Nice to meet y'all.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Take care.
You know.